What is going on, people? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Niam, and over the next 6 years, I've obsessed over behavioral science. I've lost 50 kilos, I've been fired twice, forcing me to go on this journey of entrepreneurship. And I lived in Bali for a year because I was so fed up with being mediocre in the UK. And in this video, I want to share with you the hidden science behind transformation. And I wish someone told me this when I first started this journey of behavior change and changing my life and becoming the person that I want to be, because it would have allowed me to achieve the goals that I set for myself way faster, way easier, less hiccups, less struggles. Because if you understand this, man, it's just going to change your life. Let's lock in, let's make it happen. Let's become the people that we want to be. The three things that I want to cover are game psychology, belief psychology, and embodiment, okay? If you understand these three things, transformation is, not easy, but easier. Let's go. All right, so let me tell you a story. Back in September 2020, I was a sales intern at a property technology startup in London, and I was fired. I was taken into a room and I was told that it's my last day, and it crushed me because I'd created this future and attachment to rising up the ranks and getting a higher salary and becoming this sales associate and earning lots of money. And within a few seconds, that dream was shot dead. That reality that I'd created in my head was ripped away from me, and I was devastated, genuinely devastated. I cried on the way home on the train. I was fearful to tell my mum, and it really made me hit rock bottom. But looking back, I'm proud that it happened, or I'm happy that it happened. Luckily, my brother had actually just signed up to a coaching program for fat loss. He was trying to lose weight, and this coaching program had told him the things that he needed to do in order to lose weight. I saw it as an opportunity to focus on my physical health. I was like, I'd gained a lot of weight because I was in London, I was eating out, I was doing work drinks, I was doing all the fun stuff. I was eating falafels for lunch, those big falafel wraps that you can get in London. I was having Chinese fried chicken bowls for lunch. I was having beers on the weekend, and I'd gained, I was fat. I'm not gonna lie, I was fat. And I was like, well, I'm unemployed. I need to fix up. And going to the gym for me was, I'd been going to the gym pretty consistently, but getting healthy and losing weight, I saw that as the vehicle to becoming the person that I want to be. And so I locked in. I got obsessed. It was during COVID, and so gyms were kind of on and off open, and so I did home workouts, I tracked my calories, I was eating 10K steps, I was doing all the right stuff. And I saw lots of success until I didn't. Because the problem with the way that I approached the goal was that I approached it like a finite game. And so to understand what finite games and infinite games are, I'm gonna draw a table. So finite games, the aim is to win, whereas infinite games, the aim is to keep playing. In finite games, there is agreed rules to the game and there's not agreed rules, okay? So these are the two major differences between finite games and infinite games. And the reason why this is important is because throughout life, we get trained to play finite games. When you grow up, we get set exams at school, GCSEs, A-levels. If you're in the US, it's probably something else, I don't know. But we have to study really hard, and each question in an exam has a right and a wrong answer. So these are the rules of the game, and there are winners and there are losers. Some people pass, some people fail. We get taught that life is about playing finite games. And then we go to university, we have assignments, it's the exact same. You can get it right or you can get it wrong. You can do it the right way, you can do it the wrong way, you can win or lose. And again, there's deadlines, there's agreed rules, and we have to follow those rules in order to win. We get a job, and even getting the job is like a finite game. You apply for the job, you either get the job or you don't get the job, you either win or you lose. The problem is that we then take this philosophy and we apply it to the other goals that we have in our life, to side hustles, to fitness, to our relationships. We think that all of these games are also finite games, when in reality, they are infinite games, where the game is to keep playing. The game of getting in shape actually isn't getting in shape. The goal isn't to get a six-pack, but it's to have a six-pack. It's to stay in shape. The game is not to get married, it's to stay married, right? The game isn't to get into business, it's to stay in business. Because we get conditioned and trained into behaving like life has lots of finite games, we then treat our goals as such. And this causes a big problem, because when I set the fitness goal of getting a six-pack, I would work really hard, I would obsess, I would do everything in my power, 10K steps, cracking my calories, going to the gym 6 times a week, and I would do it for 12 weeks, and then I would stop. And guess what would happen when I would stop? I would just rebound. I'd go on holiday, I'd binge back up. And I did this for years, okay? Even in my content creation journey, I would try to go really intense. I'd try and post every single day, or I would try and be perfect. And when I didn't get the reward that I wanted, when I felt like I'd lost the game, I would stop. And this was, again, for 5 years. And so what I'm trying to say is that when we treat these games like finite games, we are basically destined for failure. And when we realize that it's an infinite game, then we realize that the goal isn't actually to change our outcomes, it's to change who we are. And as a byproduct of changing who we are, we then get the outcomes that we want. And so that begs the next question, okay, how do we change who we are? Which leads us on to belief psychology. So the reason why changing who we are is very, very difficult is because of this idea of self-image. The image that we have of ourselves will determine what we achieve in our life. Okay, how we behave. And the reason being is because our self-image is a set of beliefs. So we have belief number 1, belief number 2, belief number 3, and we have hundreds of thousands of these beliefs that make up how we perceive ourselves to be. So for example, I believe that I'm a funny person. I believe that I'm relatively charismatic. I believe that I'm personable. And all of these beliefs are based on evidence that we collect through our lives. So when I was younger, I was the class clown. I was the fat kid, but I was also the class clown. So I'd go into class, I'd make loads of jokes, and these jokes would then make people laugh. And over time, through these behaviors and through the responses that I got, I collected lots of little pieces of evidence that suggest that I'm a funny person. And so now when I go to social occasions, I will make jokes because I know or have faith that if I say something weird, people will laugh. And I know that it's a likely outcome based on the evidence that I've collected. Now, the reason that we act out our beliefs is because it is safe. I can go to a social occasion and say something weird with the confidence that the other person at the table, the other people at the table will laugh because that's what I've done for my whole life. Now, if someone was trying to become funny, right? They were trying to become funny. They had the goal of becoming a comedian. They would have a set of beliefs that say, I am not funny. And so they would have to then go and oppose this belief that they are funny. And so the point that I'm trying to make here is that our beliefs exist on a scale. And so on one side of the scale, we have this belief that I am funny. And on the other side, we have evidence for the belief that I am not funny. Okay? And let's say this person wants to become a comedian, and in order to become a comedian, they need to become funny. They basically need to increase the evidence on this side of the equation or the scale, so much so that they become funny. Like I said before, the problem is that we act in alignment with the beliefs that we have. So this person who isn't funny now, who wants to become a comedian, isn't very likely to embody the identity of someone that is funny because they have no evidence for it. It's an uncertain bet that they're gonna make to make a joke. They will probably think that if I make a joke in a social occasion that no one's gonna laugh, which will stop them from acting out the behavior that aligns with them being funny. And so this is why behavior change is hard. This is why transformation is hard, is because we have to act out of alignment from our beliefs to create opposing evidence, to create the belief that aligns with who we wanna be. Incredibly difficult. We are going up against an overwhelming amount of evidence that suggests that we are not the person that we wanna be. And so then it's like, how do we do this? And it's something called embodiment. And so we have this belief of saying, I am funny on one side. On the other side, we have, I am not funny. And we have this scale, okay? And in order to basically become a comedian, we have to become funny because that's the identity that we need to be in order to become this person that we want, in order to get the outcome of filling a stadium full of people and doing shows like Jimmy Carr and Michael McIntyre can. And the hard bit is that because we believe that we're not funny, because of the evidence that we've collected, we will not act in alignment with the person that we want to be because it's a risk. And so then we have to become very, very specific with the goals that we set for ourselves. What are the behaviors of the person that we want to be, so that when we're in a situation where we can embody that person, we know exactly what we need to do and we don't procrastinate. So let's say we have the goal of losing weight and having a six-pack. Okay, so I need to become the person that has a six-pack, but I have all this evidence that suggests that I am someone that doesn't have a six-pack. I'm a fat person, I'm lazy, I don't go to the gym, I don't like going to the gym. And so tomorrow, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go for a walk. We're gonna track our calories and we're gonna have fruit, okay? Because it's healthy. And so this becomes the goal. Embodying the behaviors of the person that we wanna be, the identity that we wanna have becomes the goals. The outcome isn't the goal, the behaviors are. And that means even when we go on holiday, even when we think that we get some off time because, I don't know, we think that we can binge on holiday and come back and be really disciplined, well, we don't. because that is not the behavior of the person that we want to be. There is no certain person with a six-pack that goes on holiday and absolutely stuffs their face full so that they feel sick. That is only the behavior of an overweight person, because that is what they're used to. Now, someone with a six-pack might enjoy a little bit more, but they will eat mindfully. Another example is that we don't exercise to lose weight, we exercise to make us feel good. And so we start creating this list of behaviors that we need to embody to become that person that we want to be. And then we start doing them. And we be really specific, really small, and we make them achievable in our heads. That we don't like do these finite diets that are like juice diets or Slimming World or Weight Watchers. We don't do all that crap, because remember, we're creating a sustainable transformation. We're changing our identity, which means that we have to pick habits that we believe that we can embody forever. Now, when we get there, we might end up wanting to do more, and we end up building slowly. Right now, we have to choose things that feel sustainable, so that even when we're stressed, when we're tired, when things are going to shit in the worst conditions ever, we can still embody these behaviors that provide evidence that we are the person that we want to be, and shifts the belief scale towards that identity, which creates the transformation that we want. If you enjoyed watching, thank you very much. I'm going to be posting at least once a week, hopefully twice a week. Give us a like, subscribe, turn the notification button on. My name is Niem. Thank you very much for your time.